I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're speaking with Anita Jepson-Gilbert. She is the author of Maria and the Stars of Nazca. It is an enchanting tale that delves into the mysterious world of the Nazca Lines in Peru. She weaves a captivating narrative around Maria, a dedicated mathematician who devoted her life to unveiling the secrets of these ancient line drawings, suggesting a celestial connection to their creation. We are delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the folks at Book Savvy International for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel. Anita, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. This is really a pleasure to even be asked.
Oh, my pleasure. This is such an amazing story. Vaguely in my consciousness somewhere, I had heard of these Nazca lines, but didn't really know much about them. For the folks at home who are like me, don't know much about them, if anything at all, explain to them what these lines are all about.
Okay, well, up against the Andes Mountains in Peru, um, the native people knew about these lines, but people outside that area really didn't see them because you can't see them from the ground. Only when airplanes started to fly over the area could even pilots see what was down below. And so that's how Maria actually could see them when she was in Peru. Maria was really from Germany, but she was working in the home of the German consul in Peru, and she also heard about this man who was a pilot, and he had seen these fabulous drawings from way up high, and he thought she would be interested in that. So anyway, she asked him to fly her up there, and so she was just smitten with him. She ended up moving there to the desert called the Nazca Desert, and she spent the rest of her life trying to figure it all out. So we really owe it to her for seeing the first photographs, of these lines, and they are so immense, but they're charming, and of course a lot of adults know about these lines from television. There's some programs that every once in a while want to show them to us, but you know, she really wanted to know how they did it, and maybe then what they were drawn for. So she was a scientist and she was a mathematician. She wrote articles for the books. She could write in German, in Spanish, and in English. And so she was sending out the articles to all these magazines and journals for scientists to see. And so she actually appeared in one of our geographic magazine, National Geographics, many years ago. And that was the first a lot of Americans here in the United States had seen him. So what we are seeing are images of animals mostly, and I can show you. Well, I have my pictures here. I'll get it. Like monkey, that
Yeah.
she really loved that one. But anyway, she was able to figure out how they made these, and the people there 2,000 years ago did know mathematics, and they also knew how to use a graph that they could enlarge, and they just made it with the long cords and the sticks, and people would stand in a long line to keep it straight.
Hmm.
And then, they would take away the top layer, which volcanic material was a gray color, so that they could then see the other top layer, which is gypsum, which is a light color. And so everything is, in two colors. This is how you see them. And I'll show you, this is the cover of my book. And
Yep. Yeah, that's the book cover, and we'll have that inserted as well. But you can see
and
these
so
lines.
those two colors are what make the impression. Then
Yep.
to the gypsum, and then the book. And you see that the Andes Mountains are right there, really close. They're right up against the mountain, see? And
Yeah.
of course, the people in those years believed that the mountains were sacred, just like Native people today believe that the mountains are sacred, where the great spirits or their gods might be dwelling. And so it became pretty well known that the people then saw this area as a religious ceremonial place because nothing can grow there. Nothing can grow, not a little cactus, nothing. And so they understood that this land was not for them, to feed off of. It wasn't for them, it was for the gods.
Mhm.
So they made the ceremonial ground where they would walk the lines, and this was common, in ancient times. The labyrinths have been with us in many civilizations, for 2,000 years more.
Yeah. It's amazing, though, that they were creating images that could only be viewed from higher than they could possibly ever go. But I guess they were creating them for the gods to look
Yes,
down and see.
yes. The gods were on top of the mountains, and it was for them.
Amazing, amazing. Now, I don't know if you have, but do you have any plans to go visit this
I
area
have
and
I
see?
have been there.
Oh, you have
Oh
been.
yes,
Okay, tell us about that.
I needed to go before I would ask any artist, to join me in creating this book. I
Mhm.
had to know what was the color there, and the mood, everything. Oh yes, I went in 2003, and then my book came out in 2004.
Hmm. Amazing, amazing. Tell me a little bit about your collaboration with the artist in drawing these beautiful images that are inside the book and on the
Well,
cover as well.
yes, I want to tell you how I got the images to share with him. You see, I have to tell you also that before I wrote this children's book, all of my writing was in poetry. So
Mhm.
I've been known as a poet. I have a couple little books of poetry out. Anyway, when I was studying these lines, reading everything I get my hands on about Nazca lines, um, I was I was enchanted with this fact that almost all of the quotes were coming from this woman, Dr. Maria Reiche,
Mm.
according to Dr. Reiche, and then also the images. Photos are are, are provided by Dr. Reiche, and I became as infatuated with her as much as I was with the lines. And so I wrote this poem that now is the text in that book, um, about Maria finding these. Okay, so then I thought, if I do write a book, I need to find out if Maria Reich does approve of what I'm saying about her, because I don't know much about her. So it was the 1980s when I was writing this and studying all the Nazca lines, and that was before Google. I couldn't find out where she was. And I couldn't
Right.
find out if even she was still alive. So I wrote this. Yeah, I sent the poem in a little envelope, and I didn't have an address, so I just put Dr. Maria Reiche, Nazca, Peru, because I figured if she was alive, that's probably where she was. And of course, everyone in the town would have known where she was. So I
Mhm.
figured she'd get it. And I waited. Actually a couple of months. And then I finally got this little envelope that says, correo de airmail. And I knew it had to be, and this is the
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. That's like a
And this,
message in a bottle.
yes.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't say Maria Reiche on up in the top. It says Renata Reiche, Nazca, Peru. And I thought, well, see, they really don't have an address. they didn't they didn't have an address. It was Nazca, Peru. So that was so delightful to finally get this. Not, Renata Reiche was the sister, the
Mm.
younger sister of Maria, and she was a doctor. And so Renata writes this lovely little note to me, which I still have, and she says, I read the poem that you sent to Maria. She likes it very much. And I had also asked in my letter, how can I find your book? Because your book has all the drawings. I'm going to need that if I'm going to make a book authentic, you know.
Yeah.
And so Renata said, Maria is ordering a book for you from Germany. I could not find it anywhere in this country. And that's where it was. And this is Maria's book. And Maria
Wow.
did send it to me. And it is called The Mystery on the Desert.
Mm-hmm.
And it's written in German, in English, and Spanish.
Amazing.
So you choose your language and then you read every third page.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes, she
Amazing the
was
whole
so brilliant.
backstory on this. Amazing that you
Yes,
were able to connect with Maria,
yes,
her
yes,
sister, this book, your
yes,
husband's fascination with the Nazca
yes.
lines as well.
And that's how then I had all the drawings to give to my artist. You see, it is a little fold out that has all the drawings, you see,
Yep.
that she put in there. And so I have all of this, you see, to give my
Yep.
artist. And I
Amazing.
told him, you know, this is a children's book, but we're not making little, you know, little comical things in
Right.
here for them. They're comical enough by themselves.
Yeah, they're
So, yeah.
beautiful illustrations. The text is beautiful as well. The
Mm.
story is amazing. It's a real life story in a
Yes, it
children's
is.
book, and it is called Maria and the Stars of Nazca. It is written by Anita Jepson-Gilbert. It is a wonderful book. Your children will treasure it because it is rooted in reality. The artwork is wonderful, and the words, the prose, are just absolutely enchanting as well. Anita, thanks so much for joining us here today on
Sure.
Spotlight.
I appreciate it very much.
My pleasure. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.